You know me as Mr. Wonderful, and I'm going to tell you the cold, hard truth about money. If you are sitting on $10,000 right now, you are at a critical crossroads. I've seen thousands of entrepreneurs and investors stand exactly where you are. And I'm going to tell you something that might hurt your feelings. 90% of you are about to blow it. You're going to take that capital, which is hard earned freedom. You're going to trade it for depreciating garbage, a used car, a fancy watch, a vacation you can't afford. You are murdering your money before it even has a chance to work for you. Stop the madness. I treat every single dollar in my portfolio like a soldier. I send it out to war to capture more dollars and bring them back to me. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I would deploy $10,000 today in this economy to ensure it doesn't just survive, but multiplies. I have a specific hierarchy for wealth. If you violate it, you lose. If you follow it, you win. Listen to me. Now, before I give you the roadmap, you need to understand why I'm so passionate about this specific number, $10,000. To some of you, that's a lot of money. To some of the people I sit next to on Shark Tank, that's a rounding error. But here is the secret that wealthy people know and poor people don't. The physics of money never change. I've been investing for over 30 years. I've managed family wealth. I've managed mutual funds, and I've scrutinized thousands of balance sheets. And I'm telling you right now, the habits you form with this first $10,000 will dictate whether you die rich or you die broke. If you can't discover more content creation tools, video transcription service, side-by-side player, manage $10,000, I guarantee you, you will never be able to manage a million. The market will eat you alive. And looking at the economy in 2026, the stakes have never been higher. We are living in a world where purchasing power is constantly under attack. If you take that cash and stick it under your mattress because you're scared, you're actually losing money. You are losing to inflation every single second you sleep. That drives me crazy. I hate losing money. When I look at a dollar, I don't see a piece of paper. I see a potential employee. I want that dollar to go out, work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never call in sick, never complain, and bring me back a return. So I'm going to share my personal framework. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. Those don't exist. This is about building a fortress around your financial life so that you never have to worry about money again. Here is step number one, and it is the most important calculation you will ever make. Step number one, and I want you to listen to me very carefully because this is where most people fail before they even start. Do not buy a single stock. Do not buy crypto. Do not buy real estate. If you have $10,000 in your hand, but you also have $10,000 in credit card debt, sitting at 18%, 20%, 24% interest, you are not an investor yet. You are a debtor. And if you try to invest while you are holding that bad debt, you are engaging in financial suicide. Let me explain the math to you because numbers don't lie. People lie. Math doesn't. The stock market, the S&P 500, historically returns about 8% to 10% a year on average. That's a great return. I love that return. But your credit card, the bank is charging you 21% interest on that balance. If you take your $10,000 and put it in the market, maybe you make 10%. But you are losing 21% to the bank on the other side. You are effectively losing 11% of your wealth every single year by trying to be smart. That is absolute insanity. I see this on Shark Tank all the time. An entrepreneur comes in, they have a great idea, but their balance sheet is a disaster. They're paying high interest on loans while trying to expand. I look at them and I say, I'm out. Why? Because you cannot out earn a bad balance sheet. You cannot swim upstream against a 20% current. You will drown. So here is my direct order to you. If you have high interest debt, credit cards, personal loans, anything over 7%, that $10,000 you have right now is not for investing. It is for a specialized financial maneuver I call the guaranteed return. Think about it. If you pay off a credit card that charges you 20% interest, you just made a guaranteed, risk-free, tax-free 20% return on your money. Where else on earth can you get a guaranteed 20% return today? Nowhere. Not in real estate, not in tech stocks, not in bonds. I've had people argue with me. They say, but Kevin, I want to buy NVIDIA. I want to buy Tesla. The market is going up. I don't care. I don't care what the market is doing. You have a hole in your boat. If you don't plug the hole, it doesn't matter how hard you row. You are going to sink. So take that $10,000, pay off the Visa, pay off the MasterCard, cut them up. If you have to, when I look at my own money, I look for dead weight. Interest payments are dead weight. They do nothing for me. They just make the bank rich. I want you to be the bank. Once you are at zero, once the bad debt is gone, now you are naked. You are vulnerable. And that leads me to the second thing you must do before you start buying stocks. This is the step that lets me sleep at night. Now, let's assume you've been disciplined. You've paid off the debt. You are back to zero. You're ready to invest, right? Wrong. If you take your last $10,000 and dump it into the stock market today, you are making a massive mistake. Why? Because life happens and life is expensive. I call this the Slay up at night factor. What happens if you lose your job tomorrow? What happens if your car engine explodes? What happens if you have a medical emergency? If all your money is tied up in stocks, you will be forced to sell those stocks, probably at a loss just to survive. That is a disaster. You never want to be a forced seller. You need a shield, you need liquidity. Now, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, cash is trash, and I stand by that. Inflation is burning a hole in your cash every day, but you need a pile of cash that acts as your insurance policy. However, I am going to forbid you from leaving this money in a standard checking account. If your money's sitting in a big bank checking account earning 0.01%, you are letting the bank steal from you. They are taking your money, lending it out at 7%, and paying you nothing. Do not let them do that. Here is what I do, and here is what you need to do. You need to take 3 to 6 months of your living expenses, rent, food, utilities, and put it into a high yield savings account or a money market fund. Right now, you can get paid 4% or 5% just to let your cash sit there. It's liquid, meaning you can get it if you need it instantly, but it's actually fighting inflation. It's working for you. If you have $10,000 in your monthly expenses or $3,000, keep $9,000 in that high yield account. That is your fortress. That is your I don't care if I get fired fund. I'll tell you a personal story. When I started my software company in the basement, I had zero liquidity. I was terrified every single day. I couldn't focus on growth because I was worried about making payroll. It was the most stressful time of my life. Today, I keep a significant amount of cash liquid. Why? Not because I like cash, but because I love opportunity. When the market crashes, and it will crash, I have the cash ready to buy everything on sale while everyone else is panicking. So, step two, build the shield. 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high yield account. Do not touch this money for a vacation. Do not touch it for a new TV. It is for survival only. Once that tank is full, and only when it is full, do we earn the right to enter the glorious world of a stock market. Now we are going to make some real money. Let me show you exactly what to buy. All right, the debt is dead. The safety net is built. Now, and only now do we deploy capital into the market. This is where I see smart people do stupid things. You have $5,000 or $6,000 left of your $10,000. You want to double it fast. So what do? You go looking for the next Apple. You listen to your cousin who tells you about some penny stock. You read a forum about a company that's going to revolutionize dog food. Stop it. You are not a hedge fund manager. You are not Warren Buffett. And frankly, even the hedge fund managers can't beat the market consistently. For the core of your portfolio, I'm talking about 70% to 80% of your investable cash. I want you to be boring. Boring is beautiful. Boring makes you rich. I want you to buy the S&P 500 index. Why? Because when you buy the S&P 500, you are buying the 500 largest, most profitable companies in America. You aren't trying to find the needle in the haystack. You are just buying the whole haystack. Here's the data that the financial industry doesn't want you to see. Over a 15-year period, 90% of active fund managers fail to beat the index. Think about that. These are guys in $5,000 suits working on Wall Street with Bloomberg terminals and armies of analysts, and they lose to a simple low-cost index fund that you can buy on your phone while sitting on the toilet. If you pay a manager 2% a year to manage your money and they underperform the market, you are essentially paying for their Ferrari while they destroy your retirement. I hate fees. Fees are like termites. They eat your house while you sleep. I use ETFs like VO or SPY. The expense ratio is practically 0.03%. That means for every $10,000 you invest, you pay about $3 a year in fees. That is a deal I will take every single day. When you own the index, you don't care if one company goes bankrupt. If a company fails, it gets kicked out of the index and replaced by a new, better company. It is a self-cleansing mechanism for wealth. I want you to take the majority of your investment capital and put it here. It's not sexy. It's not going to make you a millionaire by next Tuesday, but historically, it compounds at 8-10% a year. And the magic of compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. Don't bet on a single horse. Bet on the racetrack, but I know you want a little bit of action. You want some cash flow. And that brings me to my favorite topic in the world, the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning. We have the foundation, we have the safety net, we have the boring index funds. Now, let's talk about the investments that I actually love. The investments that treat me like a king. I'm talking about item number 4, dividend kings. I have a philosophy that drives some people crazy, but it's made me very wealthy. I want to be paid to wait. If I buy a stock that doesn't pay a dividend, I am speculating. I am hoping that someday someone else will come along and pay me more for it than I paid. That's fine. But I prefer cash flow. I want companies that are so profitable They have no choice but to send me a check every quarter. I take those checks and I reinvest them. It's called a drip dividend reinvestment plan. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire. For a portion of your portfolio, maybe 10% to 15, I look for high quality companies with strong balance sheets that pay a yield, utilities, energy, consumer staples. These are companies that make money even when the world is falling apart. When the market drops 20%, the growth investor is crying. But the dividend investor, I'm smiling because that check still clears. I'm still getting paid. Now, let's move to item number 5. And this is the one you've been waiting for. This is where I get the most questions. Kevin, what about Bitcoin? What about Ethereum? What about that tech startup my buddy is launching? I am not against speculation. I am a venture capitalist. I live for speculation, but I have a rule. It is a rule written in stone. If you break this rule, you will eventually go to zero. It is called the 5% rule. You are allowed to take 5% of your investable capital. That's $500 of your $10,000, and you can go crazy. You can buy Bitcoin. You can buy that risky tech stock. You can buy a piece of art. I own crypto. I think it's a valid asset class, but it is volatile. It moves 20%, 30%, 50% in a week. If you put 50% of your net worth into Bitcoin and it drops 50%, you are going to panic. You are going to sell the bottom. You will be emotionally destroyed. But if you put 5% in and it goes to zero, you lost 5%. It stings, but you're still alive. You're still in the game. On the flip side, if that 5% goes to the moon and doubles or triples, fantastic. You rebalance. You sell some of the winners and put it back into the boring stuff. This is how you stay rich. You play in the sandbox, but you don't build your house there. So here is the breakdown so far. Kill the debt, guaranteed return. Fill the reserves, sleep at night. Buy the index, the core, add dividends, cash flow, speculate with 5%, the fun stuff. You might be thinking, Kevin, should I dump this all in on Monday morning? Great question. And the answer is absolutely not. Let me tell you how to execute this so you don't get burned. Now we have the strategy. We know what to buy. But knowing what to buy is only half the battle. Knowing when to buy is where people get slaughtered. If you take your investable cash and dump it all into the market on Monday morning at 9:30 a.m., you are gambling. You are praying that Monday isn't the top of the market. What if the market crashes 10% on Tuesday? You're going to feel like an idiot. You're going to panic. You're going to sell, and you will lock in a loss. I don't try to time the market. I'm not a wizard, and neither are you. Nobody knows if the market is going up or down tomorrow. So how do we solve this? We use a technique called dollar cost averaging. Here's what I want you to do. Take that capital you've set aside for the S&P 500 or your dividend stocks and divide it by 6. I want you to invest 16th of that money on the first day of the month, every month for 6 months. Why? Because this removes your emotions from the equation. If the market goes up next month, great. The money you already invested is growing. If the market crashes next month, even better. You have fresh cash ready to buy more shares at a discount. You are buying the dip automatically. I love market crashes when I have cash on the sidelines. It's like walking into a store and seeing everything marked down 20%. I don't run away screaming. I load up the cart. Dollar cost averaging turns you into a disciplined investor. It stops you from trying to catch a falling knife. It forces you to buy low even when the news is scary. So let's put it all together into a battle plan for your $10,000. Step 1, if you have credit card debt, use the lump sum method. Pay it all off immediately. Do not wait. That fire is burning now. Step 2, if you are debt-free, take $3,000 to $5,000 and fill that emergency savings account. Lump sum, get it done. Step 3, with the remaining money, let's say it's $5,000, set up an automatic transfer, $830 a month into the S&P 500 for the next 6 months. Set it and forget it. Go live your life. Go work on your career. Go start a side hustle to make the next $10,000. Stop staring at the ticker tape. It's not going to help you. This is the boring, unsexy, disciplined path to wealth. And it works. It's how I built my fortune, and it's how I keep it. So there you have it. You have the roadmap. You have the protocol. I've just given you the exact blueprint I would use if I had to start over with $10,000 today. Let's review it one last time because I want this burned into your brain. Kill the bad debt. It's a guaranteed 20% return. Build the shield. Cash is trash, but liquidity is oxygen. Buy the market. Stop trying to be a hero. Be the house. Speculate responsibly. Never more than 5%. Here is the cold, hard truth. Money has no soul. It doesn't know you. It doesn't care if you work hard. It doesn't care if you're a nice person. If you mistreat it, it will leave you for someone else. But if you respect it, if you give it rules, if you give it structure, it will take care of you and your family for generations. I want you to look at that $10,000, not as cash to spend, but as the seed of your financial freedom. Do not eat the seed. Plant it. If you found value in this, if you want to be part of the minority of people who actually understand how money works, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to keep telling you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Now, stop watching videos and go look at your bank account. The clock is ticking. Get to work.